Okay, good morning. This is Notes 2, B2, talking about the different types of lines. So we're going to talk about very specific types of lines, specifically horizontal and vertical. Horizontal and vertical only show up a couple times when we are doing lines, but they have very specific types of equations and they don't follow the typical y equals mx plus b pattern. So it's important that we talk about them. So in example number 1, they're just asking us to sketch out the different kinds of lines. So the first one they ask us to sketch out is a vertical line. A vertical line is just a line that goes up and down. Okay? Vertical lines always have a slope that is undefined. That just means that they don't have a slope at all. They go up and down, but they do not move left to right, which means that when I do rise over run, which is our slope, which we learned in lesson 1, my up and down is a given number, but my left to right is going to be a 0. And anytime you try to divide something by 0, it comes up undefined. So that's why the slope for a vertical line is undefined. The vertical line will always have an equation that starts with x and ends in a number. So for example, I drew my line at positive 4, so my equation would be x equals 4. Very similarly, for a horizontal line, horizontal lines are drawn straight left to right. They have a slope of 0 for a very similar reason that vertical lines have an undefined slope. So they don't go up and down, so the 0 is on top, and the left to right on the bottom is a given number. So it might be 2, might be 3, it doesn't matter. 0 divided by anything is always 0. Okay? The horizontal line starts with y because it goes through the y-axis, and it will end in a number. Again, for example, I drew my line at positive 6, so my equation would be y equals 6. Okay? In example number 2, they're asking us to describe equations of lines based on information that they give us. So in number 2, the very first question says, describe a line or write an equation for a line whose parallel to the x-axis and is 2 units above it. Well, if I think about the x-axis goes left to right. The y-axis goes up and down. So if I'm parallel to the x-axis, it means that I run this way. So I am a horizontal line. Remember from example number 1, horizontal lines will always start with y, and they'll end in a number. So if I'm 2 units above the x-axis, it means I am a positive 2. Positive 2 goes up. Okay? In letter B, it says, who has an undefined slope and is 2 units to the left of the y-axis. So again, if we refer back to example number 1, an undefined slope describes a vertical line. So undefined slope and vertical line go together. And vertical lines always start with x. And if I'm 2 units to the left, numbers to the left are negative, so I would be a negative 2. Okay? In example number 3, they're just asking us to graph a line. Whenever you graph a line, you always have to start with y equals. So the first thing I want to do is I want to solve this equation for y. So we learned how to do this back in Unit A. You're going to move the x first. I cannot combine x's and numbers. Okay, they have to be exactly the same in order for me to do that. 21 minus 4x would just be written horizontally. And then I'm going to divide everything by 3. So y is now equal to 21 divided by 3 is 7. 4 does not divide by 3 nicely, so I'm just going to leave it as a fraction. Okay, so when we started this unit, back with the slope, I told you that I was going to teach you 3 different ways to graph. The first way that we're going to learn how to graph is by hand. When you graph by hand, I actually find this to be the easiest method or the quickest method, but you are certainly welcome to use whatever method you like once we learn all 3. So the first way I'm going to teach you is, again, by hand. You are going to start with your y-intercept. That's your b, or the number that stands by itself. So I'm going to find positive 7 on my y-axis. Okay, so this goes right here. Your slope is the other number, the fractional number, okay? And that number tells us how to move. So -4/3 means from my y-intercept, I'm going to go down 4 boxes and write 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to make a dot. And I'm going to do that 2 times so that I have 3 dots total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go ahead and connect this with a nice solid line. And of course, you'll be using a ruler. I can't on my computer. If I try to put a ruler down, it gets really wonky and won't let me write. Okay? You have to put arrows on each end, which I did. And you also have to write the equation somewhere closer to the line. Okay? All right, so you do have classwork. I would like you to get started on that. Your classwork will look very similar to the notes today. If you have any trouble, please feel free to come and ask for help, or you can give it a try and then I will help you later. Okay? All right, have a good day.